Hey guys, and welcome to my channel Hammonds Hobbies. My name's Glenn, and today we're going to be talking about the very first set of licensed F1 products that I started collecting myself. Not the first that ever came out, just the first ones I started collecting. I'm going to go through with you my journey and also show my whole collection, as I now feel that this is a complete master collection of this set. So let's get right into today's video. So that's right, it's Turbo Attacks, the 2020 collection. I'm going to go through in a second why I feel that we should talk about this set first over all the other sets I've collected of F1. But before we get into that, I just want to say, please make sure you smash up that like button if you like listening to me talk about things about F1 or Pokemon. And also if you could click subscribe if you're new to this channel. Great having you on board, and I hope we can have many more discussions in the future about collecting cards. So why would I show this set before my Sapphire set or my Chrome set or the sticker collection? Well, for me, Turbo Attacks represents my entry into collecting F1 cards. So just a little brief background. Obviously I started this YouTube channel up as Mewtwo Unboxing. It was predominantly for my son Tyler, which you guys, if you've been watching me for a while, you'll know. You would have seen loads of videos with us two in it. And over time he lost his interest in collecting Pokemon cards. I think he still likes Pokemon, but he's got to that age where he's like 12, 13, he's not that interested. Now, obviously, I like collecting cards. When I was little, I used to collect football cards, even though I had no interest in football whatsoever. I didn't support a team. I had no interest, but I used to just enjoy swapping with people, doing deals, selling cards, you know, for 50p and then using that for tax money and stuff like that. So I've always been there or thereabouts with collecting cards and stuff. Obviously, I went for a long period of my life where I didn't collect anything. But now that my life's starting to settle and calm down a bit, I can spend a little bit more disposable income on collecting stuff. Now, what has been consistent throughout my life that I've always been into is Formula One. I started watching Formula One because everyone was saying to me, why don't you watch football? Why don't you watch football? Obviously, being in the UK, we're a very, if you're from America, soccer-centric country. And I don't know, I just watched matches and I just didn't find it very interesting. I was like, okay, so they might score, they might score. So I never found it that interesting. I like watching international cups, so World Cups, Euros. Other than that, I'm not that interested in football. I find it quite boring. Then I started watching Formula One, and this was at the time where David Coulthard was at Mclaren and Mick Schumacher versus Schumacher week in, week out. That was, and I just found it really interesting. I loved all the, the build up to normally an overtake. What I would find is that with football, something could come at any moment. So you do have that, but then after that, it's like sometimes an hour and a half of nothing. Whereas Formula One, if you actually understand what's going on in the background, it actually is very tense. It builds up to a moment normally in a race. So I used to like, if Mick Schumacher was catching Michael Schumacher at, say, half a second a lap, you would think, oh, okay, in 15, and he's 30 seconds behind, you'd think, right, okay, in X amount of laps, he's going to catch him right up, and then can he overtake him? So you're building up to that moment 30 laps before. If you don't know what's going on, then you find that quite boring. You don't understand they're just driving around and why people enjoy watching that. But anyway, that's why I fell in love with Formula One. That was from the age of about 12, I think. I'm now 37 or something. And in that time, there hasn't really been like a licensed F1 product that you can collect as such. And then when I went shopping, whilst I started this YouTube channel about collecting cards, bam, I see this big sign up saying Turbo Attacks F1 collectible cards. I was like, oh my god, this is my, this is my thing. I'm going to jump straight in on this. Like F1, I love F1. I'm collecting cards at the moment. It just seemed like a marriage made in heaven. So for me, this Turbo Attack set holds, I would say, sentimental value to me. Even though this is probably, out of all the sets I've got, worth the least amount. So forgetting the money side of it, this is one of my favourite sets, but it's also probably worth less. So when I first went shopping, I saw this stand and they had one of these in it. This was a display box, they call it, not a booster box. But they're all pretty battered, to be fair. And this was a very rush to market product, because Topps actually signed a contract with F1 and then very quickly this set came out. As well as that, they also released a sticker collection, which I've got behind me. I don't know if you can see it in the shot. I've got the complete set of that from 2020 as well, but that never came to the UK, so that was saying I couldn't collect. So this literally was it. And at the time, Chrome hadn't come out and Sapphire hadn't come out, so I went and bought 2 of these display boxes from the shop. I almost cleared the shop out. I had no inkling of what they were worth or what they were going for. I just wanted to open them. I was like, I need to open up these F1 cards. I went home, I was like a child, I unpacked all the food shopping, I went straight into my, at the time, shed, and I said, yeah, I'm going to record a YouTube video, and it was just me opening packs. And it didn't get many views, and not many people were interested. Most of the viewership on this channel are obviously from Pokemon, so obviously they had no interest in it at all. But I really enjoyed it, and that's the main thing. So I opened up a couple of display boxes, and very quickly, opening one of these display boxes, you'll realise that actually you can pretty much complete the whole set from that. The only thing that you would miss is limited editions. Now, limited editions, they released certain limited editions for certain products. A bit like how Pokemon does it with their Black Star promos. You would have to, if you wanted to unpack yourself each limited edition, you would have to buy at least one of every sealed product that they released. Now at the time that was the binder book, which I've actually got one. So this binder here, so if you wanted the Lewis Hamilton Gold limited edition, you would have had to have bought the binder itself. I think this was a £5. Yeah, £5, there you go. £5 for the starter kit. This got you the binder. Plus obviously this little pack here, which included the Lewis Hamilton Gold limited edition. So anyone who started collecting this set would have straight off the bat the Lewis Hamilton Gold limited edition. But then if you wanted the other limited editions, you had to buy, there was I think 3 different mini tins, which they named mini tin A, B and C. This one, I'm not sure what one this is, but this one's got these drivers on the front of it. Each mini tin had different drivers on the front. So you had one with Daniel Ricciardo at the front with, I don't know, Lewis or Vettel or whoever. But by the time I'd obviously clocked on, like, oh yeah, I'll check the Topps website. You know, this was all new to me. I just gone to Asda, and actually for the first couple of weeks, I just kept going back to Asda and just buying packs from the booster boxes, or the display boxes, sorry. And then after a little while, it clocked in my head. I was like, oh yeah, I should just search Topps and buy them directly from Topps. And lo and behold, there was the Topps website with all the different products. They had the mini tins, the mega tins, the display boxes, the starter sets. There was this little promo pack that they did, but they all sold out, all of them. So I couldn't get any. So already I was on the back foot. I got pretty much almost one of every card, but I couldn't get any limited editions. So we'll get into that in a second, but these are the sealed products that I've managed to keep. I would say if I could add anything to this sealed collection with this Turbo Attack set, they released in Europe, I'll try and get an image of it and put it in here. They released like this, it was a bigger box, and I think it contained a display box, and it contained like other sealed products all within this big box. And they didn't release it in the UK, so all the writing around it, I think, is Italian or German. And I seem to remember it had Vettel on the front of it. That's something I would like. If anyone knows how I can get hold of it. I know I haven't described it very well, but that's something that I'll always keep my eye out for. So if anyone knows what I'm talking about, please comment down below or drop me a message on my Facebook, Instagram or Twitters. But yeah, so that's the sealed product. Let's get into the actual card collection itself. So I did do a video on my channel, again, when I was just predominantly all talking about Pokemon. Obviously, since then, I've joined all the F1 Facebook groups. I've been quite active in them. I buy, I sell, I trade. I talk to a few of the guys through phone call, actually. A guy called Adam, or I'd like to think that... I've become quite friendly with, and we've done sort of like a big deal together. He's been quite patient with me, actually, bless him. But he's helped me out along the way, advising me different things. Soon we're going to have the Aussie F1 collector actually do like a live Q&A or a podcast type session on this channel. So make sure you're subscribed to get content like that. I'd love to get the Sports Investor, the main YouTube channel over in America. I'd love to get a conversation with him. I don't know if he would, because I'm too small a channel, but I'd love to get his take on the F1 card scene, because he talks a lot about baseball and basketball. So anyway, let's get into this. So this is the 2020. Remember that it only came out in the UK for a very short period of time. And basically, once the pack sold, that was it. There was no replenishment of them. Whereas the 2021 set, it's just been constant. Like I can still go to. There's a Tesco's near me, and I think they have them in still brand new packs. Whereas this, once those display boxes gone off that little display they had, that was it. There was no more. And predominantly they all got made in Europe, so a lot of Europeans have quite a lot of boxes of them, but not so much Americans or people in the UK. So let's have a little look at this set. This is a sleeve just containing what you get in that binder, just so I've got the whole lot together. It's also got the checklist on this. On the back of this card you have the full checklist of what you can collect in this set. And as well as that, there's also this mat here, which if you lay the mat out, you can actually play the game. That's what this is. This is actually designed to play a game, not just collect. And you basically race around this track, and you use different cards with the strategy cards. So that's the game behind it. But I've never even met another person that collects F1 cards, let alone has the 2020 TurboTax and actually knows how to play the game. This is there's two checklists. This is a continuation of it on here. It goes all the way up to, I think it's 200 cards. So this one says 181, and then you've got the limited edition, so just under 200 all in total. And that's it. They didn't release any other promo cards or any signed ones, whereas the 2021 one has been a lot more structured. They did a collaboration with Billy Munger to start off with. He did a YouTube video of him unpacking the packs before they'd even come out. Then they had a signed card with him. Then they had an unsigned card with him. Then they've released, obviously, parallels, supposedly. Obviously, I got one of them, but and now they've just released fire cards if you buy certain products over Black Friday. So it seems like they're continually supporting the 2021 set. 2020, on the other hand, though, there was none. Once you complete the set, that's it. So let's have a little look at this set all together. So this set was actually designed to be in a 9-page binder. Obviously, their binder that they released, the £5 one. Now, I hate these binders. These are like cheap plastic, flimsy. The cards, once the cards, you get quite a few in there, it starts to bend and warp, and I wouldn't recommend using it. I don't know why that. Obviously it's a £5, so for kids it's ideal, I suppose. But obviously for someone like me who wants to collect the cards and keep them in pristine condition, I've got this Volt X binder with the zip, and it's 12 slots. So that means that these images are out of sync of how they should be laid out. But obviously I've tried to make the best I can with it. So this is the front page. So we start off with Lewis Hamilton, and then we've actually got the British drivers all together. Then they put the Finland drivers together, Canadian, French, and then that's the end of the first page. So oddly enough, they released like you know, this is like the very first images you're going to see of this binder set. And they only chose 9 drivers. So I don't know who made that call and how they went about it, but there's only 9 drivers on the very first page. And then from the second page, it goes into the teams. So we start off with the team badges, which is the Mercedes one with Lewis Hamilton, single portrait shot, and Valtteri Bottas. Interestingly, the team badges are different to all the rest because they actually, if you flip it back the other way, they contain stats for the team. So if you're into that sort of thing, if you want to know how many Constructors' Championships that team's won or how many qualifyings they qualified first time, it has that sort of information on here. It says they started in 1954. So really cool information on there. On the drivers ones, you don't get that. You literally just get a little badge with what team they drive for. So if I pull out a Lewis Hamilton, it just says Mercedes at the bottom, and that's it. So the team badges, you'll see at the end of this binder, I had to collect 2 of each, but we'll get to that in a second. So these are the team ones. You have a team badge, then you have 1 of each driver, then you have a couple of, I would call them live action shots, but it's basically their car with like a greyed out image of their face in the background. And then we've got a joint one. So this is the layout they do for all the teams. So again, we'll see the same with Ferrari. I actually really like it. I'm not a huge fan of Ferrari as a team, but I really love, I don't know why, the red against the black looks awesome in this card. Then we've got the drivers, so Charles Leclerc and Vettel. Seems like a lifetime ago, but this is when Vettel was driving for Ferrari. Now he's over at Aston Martin. We've got Charles Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel obviously in there, sort of like action shots. And then you've got the joint one. Then we go into Red Bull when Max Verstappen was there with Alex Albon. Obviously he's not in Formula 1 at the moment anymore, but he will be next year. Then we go into McLaren where it was Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris. Then we've got Renault with Daniel Ricciardo and Esteban Ocon. Renault's gone now. It's called Alpine, which is Renault's sporting department. They tried to rebrand it. I think it's rubbish rebrand myself. We've got AlphaTauri with Pierre Gasly and Daniel Kvyat. We've got another team change actually. So this is the Racing Point, which has now changed to Aston Martin, which actually is owned by Lance Stroll's father. So he's kept his seat magically. he's an okay driver actually. And then you've got Sergio Perez, who's now at Red Bull. Then we've got Alfa Romeo, Kimi Raikkonen. It's his last year this year, so we won't see any more Kimi Raikkonen cars potentially after next year. And then we've got Antonio Giovinazzi. He has not been signed for anyone for next year, which is, I suppose, a bit of a shame, but there you go. What can you say? Haas team, obviously Kevin Magnussen and Roman Grosjean. If you watch the Drive to Survive on Netflix, which I highly recommend, Haas has to be the most entertaining team to watch. 1, because of their team boss, and then 2, because of their drivers. None of them seem to care. It's awesome. Then we got the Williams team, obviously George Russell, who actually is under a Mercedes contract, who supplies the Williams engine. Mercedes said to him, look, can you put our driver in there as we're supplying you our engine, and when he's ready he'll come over to Mercedes, and that is what is happening as of next year. It's going to be Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, an all British team, which is awesome. Then we've got Nicholas Latifi, and then we have their joint card, and then it moves on quite nicely actually, because that's the end of the first few pages there. It moves on to their live action shots. Now, I'm not going to go through each one of these because one, it'll be a very long, drawn out video. But essentially, for different races of the year, for different key moments, you have like a live action shot. So it has the date on it with a picture of the card, and also like normally a picture of them cheering or celebrating because they won a race or whatever happened. I really like this Lewis Hamilton one where he's actually crowd surfing. This was a really iconic moment actually that happened at the British Grand Prix. So yeah, I really like that card. Got some Max Verstappen ones. Obviously going forward, next year's set for this year is going to be heavily Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, because between the two of them, they've won most of the races. More live action shots here. Then we move on to their sort of close-up portrait shots. So 1 for each driver here. nice to see, actually. It's a bit more mixed up. It's not all like based on their teams or their nationality. It's just mixed up, which I think looks better like that, actually. Max looks pretty cool there, lifting his collar up. Roman Grosjean looks like he's trying to undress there. Go on, Grosjean. And then we move on to the F2 teams. Now, they don't actually get one card for each of them. They actually only have just a joint one of their team as such. So we have all these different ones now. Zhou, I believe I'm pronouncing this right. Zhou. I'm going to say Zhou because Zhou sounds wrong. He's obviously just got signed for Formula One. So his Chrome cards are going up quite a bit in value because people didn't know that he was a F2 driver, and F2 drivers go quite cheap in the world of Chrome. But now he's been signed, his cards are going through the roof. We've got obviously all the F2 teams with their current drivers. Obviously one of the standout cards in this set is this Mick Schumacher one. So this is in my opinion, when people talk about, oh, what's their rookie card? Everyone talks about Tops now, and everyone talks about Chrome and Sapphire. And like, what are their rookie cards? More so Chrome. In my opinion, it's these turbo attacks. They're their rookie cards. This is the very first image on a card of Mick Schumacher that I'm aware of. No one seems to really pick up on that. They just all talk about Chrome. But this, in my opinion, is the rookie card of Mick Schumacher, although it is him shared with Robert Schwartzman. So maybe that's why, but to me, all of these cards are their rookie cards. This here is the very first Lewis Hamilton card. This is the very first Lando Norris. But people don't see that. They just talk about Chrome. That's all they talk about. So there you go. I'd love to hear your thoughts about that in the comment section down below. Then you have the strategy cards. So these are like when you're playing the game, you try and stop people and move 2 places, move back 3 places, and you race around the track. First across the line wins. So you use them throughout the game when you're playing it. And then after those cards, we come over to the holographic. So these are the very first holos of a licensed F1 cards. What they've done is they've created a holo center of the driver, and then they've tried to squeeze in like 3 different images. I'm not a huge fan of this, if I'm being honest. It looks like there's too much going on in the card without much thought into it. But if you want to look at each image, then that's fair enough. And as you go through them, you got obviously all the drivers, and then it goes on to the actual portrait like holo card. So this is a Lewis Hamilton holo card, and what they've done is, and I really like this holo effect, what they've done is they've put 4 tyres stacked up on top of each other, and they've made those tyres holo. Then they've printed the image of the driver over the top, so it's actually the background that's holographic, not the driver. And then underneath the driver, they've got like almost like a catchphrase or a phrase that would be commonly associated with that driver at that time. So this one says hammer time, because when Lewis has to put his foot down, the engineer will come on and say, right, come on Lewis, it's hammer time. So that's a nice little throw to obviously radio conversations that they have during the race. And then there's one of those for each driver. So if we have a look here, we have Valtteri Bottas with Bot Fast. We have Charles Leclerc with the Rising Star. I've never heard anyone say the Rising Star, but I may be wrong. You got Sebastian Vettel, the 4-time champion. Max with Maximum Attack. We've got Alex Albon with Awesome Alex. Then we've got Carlos Sainz with Smooth Operator. And that is actually, I really like that, because at the end of one of these races, they say to him, oh, well done, Carlos, that was really smooth. And then he starts singing in the car. He goes, Smooth Operator. And it was quite a funny little joke at the time. And obviously it stuck with him in the card set. They've called him Smooth Operator in this one. Lando Norris is known as Likeable Lando. Daniel Ricciardo's called the Honey Badger. That's what they refer to him a lot as, still to this day, actually, on Sky F1. Then we've got Esteban Ocon with O Consistency. We've got Pierre Gasly, the comeback kid. That's because he got to Red Bull, then he got demoted back down to Toro Rosso at the time, And since then, he's done really well, and he's actually gone on to win races with this team. So he's known as the comeback kid. Normally, when you get to a top tier team and you don't make it, that's like almost the end of your career in F1. Daniel Kvyat, we have the third era. Sergio Perez, they just say Checo, which is what they'll call him, Checo. We have Lance Stroll here with Strolly. Kimi Raikkonen with the Iceman. He's known as the Iceman because he's quite offish, and people really like him for that. He's very blunt, very honest, very to the point. He doesn't tippy-toe. He says it how it is. And in one of the races, before all these cards came out, Kimi Raikkonen went to I think it was during a race, and they called it off because of the rain. But normally what they do is they sit around and wait just in case the race gets called back on, and then they can all go out and race. Kimi got out of his car, went straight to his garage, and just got a choc ice, what I would call choc ice, but an ice cream. And he just sat there. He put his shorts on. He got out of all of his fireproof gear and everything like that, and he just sat there eating it. And since then, everyone called him the Iceman. We've got Antonio Giovinazzi with It's Geo Time, Kevin Magnussen with K-Mag, Grosjean with Gritty Grosjean, and George Russell with Roaring Russell. I've never heard anyone say that. And then we've got Nicholas Latifi with The Rookie. Again, I've never heard anyone say that either. Then that is actually the end of the set. I've put this Lewis Hamilton card in here again just to fill in the page, if you like. But otherwise, there would have been a gap. And then we move on to the gold cards. The gold cards represent a race win. So this means that this driver in that year won a race. Which I wish they'd carried that on actually into the next set, but they haven't. But yeah, these are very unusual actually, because you hold him in certain lights and I don't know, they look a bit distorted, their image. But it's quite hard to take photos of these and list them on eBay, I know from experience, because depending on how the light hits them, you can or can't see the driver properly. But anyway, that's for another video. So I've got 4 of each driver that are in these gold cards. So this is my gold card page. You can see here I've got 4 of everyone. So in that year we had Sebastian Vettel win a race, Kimi Raikkonen, Max Verstappen, Bottas, Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc, and lastly we had Pierre Gasly. So even though people always say, oh, Lewis Hamilton's had it really easy and yada yada yada, actually this year there was loads of different people that that were capable of winning races, that had fairly decent cars. That's my opinion on it. Take from it what you will. And then we move on to what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, the limited edition cards. As you saw, the Lewis Hamilton comes in gold, and that is available when you buy the starter pack or the binder. So essentially I had to go out and buy 4 binders. A couple of them I actually filled up and sold on eBay, but they didn't sell very well. I did a lot better with 2021. By then, obviously, the popularity's kicked in with F1 cards, but the 2021s seemed to struggle to sell. Then what they done for each driver was they had a gold card, a silver, and a bronze. And to get each one of these, you had to buy different sealed products. So if you bought the Mini Tin A, you may be guaranteed a Max Verstappen gold, silver or bronze. So if you wanted all 3, you had to buy at least 3, and then you had to hope that you didn't get a duplicate. Now oddly enough, in a lot of these cards, the one that is the hardest to pull, it seems, was bronze. I don't know why that is. It seemed like everyone has golds to sell, but not many bronzes are about. So I don't know what's up with that. We've got Charles Leclerc, gold, silver, bronze. Then we have Daniel Ricciardo, gold, silver, bronze. And again, Daniel Ricciardo's bronze card, that was one of the hardest cards to pull from the set. So actually at a time when I was collecting these, this was going for like quite a lot of money. I think about 40 quid or something like that, which for a turbo attack is quite a lot of money. Now, if you were just collecting it from the UK, that would be the end of your journey. But in, I believe, Italy and Germany and other European countries, or I believe in the Spanish one in particular, their display boxes like this, they had a little advert in there containing, or could contain, a Kimi Raikkonen Gold Limited Edition. That wasn't available in the UK one, so that one's a different type of sealed product as such. where you could pull one of these cards. Now, obviously, I'm from the UK, so I had no chance of pulling one unless I managed to import one of those boxes. So I've had to buy these along the way, and these are probably the most expensive card in the set. I think these at the time were going for anywhere from 40 to 80 quid per card. Now that obviously the heat's died down on it a bit, you could probably pick these up for maybe 20, 30 quid each, but still, it's probably the most valuable card in the whole binder, just because it's very unlikely that you pulled one being from England. And then that is literally the end of the set. Now, what I've done is, as I showed you at the beginning, I've gone through and I've basically pulled out a random card that has the team badges on it. So I started off with Mercedes in the top left corner, and then I had to pull another one of each team badge so that you could actually fully appreciate, okay, that's Mercedes, that's Ferrari, that's Red Bull, and so forth, so forth. And that's throughout the whole collection. Then you got the F2 teams here, so I've got one of each of those. And then here's a little rule book, how to play the game, and then also like a little infographic. So I've kept those as well. So that is it. That is the end of the 2020 Turbo Attack set. This video's probably gone on a bit longer than what I'll do for the other video showing my complete sets, just because obviously I've gone into the whole background of me collecting cards and this being the very first set. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you make, now that I've shown you a complete master set of 2020 Topps Turbo Attacks? What do you make of it? Do you like the look of it? I personally actually prefer the gold cards in this set and the limited editions, but I don't like those holos that I showed you at the beginning. I think 2021 done them better. But this obviously has sentimental value to me. I've noticed that the price of these have started to go up. I've seen some of these sets with every card in it going for 150 to 200 pound. Whereas before, when I first started looking into these, you could buy the complete set for 30 quid. That's how much I paid for my. I paid for a binder like this, someone on eBay, 30 quid with every single card in it. So that's crazy, really. With these Turbo Attacks, you could buy the packs, and they were £1 each. So the packs are like this. But on the Topps website, they've always done, if you register for a subscribe with your email, you get 10% off. So essentially you could get these for 90p a pack. Now, I mean, you could probably buy a load of these on eBay for 20 of them for like, I don't know, like 15 quid or something. So yeah, I really like the Turbo Attack set. If I had a choice, obviously this holds sentimental value to me. The actual look and the collection as a whole, I actually prefer 2021, if I'm being completely honest. But still, this holds a place in my heart. I'll always be keeping this. I won't be selling this. I may get some of the cards graded, like the ones where I've got 4 of each. I might send maybe 2 off of each card to get graded, because it'd be nice to have some graded cards for this set. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. The only thing is that leaves a gap in the binder, and I don't like gaps in my binders. I'm a bit OCD like that. So let me know, what do you think of the Turbo Attacks from 2020? Would you like to see more content of this? Maybe some pack opening, stuff like that? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, don't forget to smash up that like button if you've enjoyed listening to me talking about the origins of my F1 collecting story. And also, if you want to see more videos like this, can click subscribe for me. Join the Hammonds hobby crew, and we're going to be unpacking and collecting a lot more F1 products over the years. So make sure you follow me for that. That's it from me, guys. I'll see you on the next video from myself. Bye.